And you weigh the reality of what, now you're going to die. And many times I've been in this situation where I had thought that I was going to get killed, shooting back and forth, as we stoned at the Israelis and they shoot back at us and things like that. I was face to face with death. When you think in your mind you're going to die, you struggle between the requirements of your Islamic upbringing and between the reality that you value your life. And at some point, one has to outweigh the other. And for a Muslim fundamentalist, we always chose death. We always chose the suicide. My cousin died on his way to Ben Yehuda Street, and he got killed. He died. I had people, relatives die, and fighting the Israelis. And as I look at it now, I think, what a waste. What a waste of life.
Okay, and then we say goodbye and shake hands. Okay?
Are you ready, John?
Okay, I'm running.
I'm running too.
Come on, Afghanistan. So in other words, you want to change. In other words, who gives you the right to change or topple a government in another country?
It shouldn't be us that puts together the new government. It should be the people of Afghanistan, inside Afghanistan and those that have had to flee from Afghanistan. And I think that's the right way to do it. Now, can I say I've enjoyed very much doing this interview with you, and I think that whatever differences there are between us, it's important we carry on with this dialogue. Maybe one of the problems that arises out of all this is there's been insufficient dialogue between the Arab world and the West, between Islam and between people of other faiths. And I hope that we can establish a proper dialogue, and maybe that would be some good that could emerge out of the terrible events of the 11th of September.
Some personal question, Mr. Blair, at the end. I know you have so many meetings and people are waiting outside. I've read, I think, in the Times that you read about Islam. What do you know about Islam?
Well, I do not in any shape or form pretend to be an expert, but I do read the
What
message.
do you read? What interests you?
I read the message of the Quran insofar as it can be translated, and I read about Islam, and I enjoy doing that. And I think there's, I've learned things about the Quran that I never knew before, and I think a lot of Christians would be interested. That's one of the reasons I say to you, it would be good if out of this we had some more dialogue and some more faith. And the reason I have to leave you now is because I'm going to meet some religious leaders, both Muslim and Christian and Jewish, upstairs, and in order to discuss with them how we can bring the faiths closer together. So, shukran lal jazeera.
Shukran, Mr. Blair. What did you say in Arabic?
Shukran lal jazeera.
Shukran jazeera. Thank you very much.
Islam understands its earthly mission to be to extend the law of Allah over the world by force. Now, this is distinct from extending the religion by force. Muslims often indignantly deny that Islam was spread by the sword, as the old expression goes, and that anybody is ever forced to convert to Islam. Now, of course, forced conversions are a constant hallmark of Islamic history, but they are technically forbidden by Islamic law. Now, the idea in Islam is that Muslims must wage war to establish the hegemony of Islamic law. Not everybody will be forced to become Muslim, but the non-Muslims will be relegated to second-class status. They will not be able to live in the society as equals to the Muslims. And it is the responsibility of Muslims around the world to fight to institute that kind of society.
While we were in the mosque, the Prophet came out and said, "Let us go to the Jews." We went out till we reached Bait al-Madras. He said to them, "If you embrace Islam, you will be safe. You should know that the earth belongs to Allah and His Apostle, and I want to expel you from this land. So if anyone amongst you owns some property, he is permitted to sell it. Otherwise you should know that the earth belongs to Allah and His Apostle."
The Muslims see the extension of jihad as a war liberating the infidels from their infidelity and a privilege for them to enter in the religion of Islam and to abandon their wrong belief. So jihad is seen as a favor which is given to the infidel population in order to change their ways and convert to the true religion, Islam.
It is not for a prophet that he should have prisoners of war and free them with ransom until he had made a great slaughter among his enemies in the land. You desire the good of this world, the money of ransom for freeing the captives, but Allah desires for you the hereafter, and Allah is Almighty, all-wise.
In the Muslim thinking, in the Muslim Sharia, the way the world is depicted is in two houses. It's called Dar al-Islam or Dar al-Harb, the house of Islam or the house of war. So the whole world is under these two houses. If you're not a Muslim, you're under the house of war. Yet in the West, the apologists, Islamic apologists would say, no, that's not accurate. It is the house of peace and the house of Islam. And in fact, that's not accurate. If you look at the hadith and if you look at what comes from the highest jurisprudence in the Middle East, that's what is being taught.
يعني أنا لدي طفل من الآن أعده للشهادة إما شهادتي أنا أو هو فأقول له أن الله عز وجل قد جعل هنالك جنة واسعة فيها ما لا عين رأت ولا أذن سمعت ولا خطر على قلب بشر. وهو بيسألني يعني إذا أنا عملت عملية وفجرت نفسي هل إلي يعني ربنا عز وجل بيعطيني اللي بدي إياه، بيعطيني سيارات، بيعطيني بارودة أطخ فيها، بيعطيني ألعاب. قلت له كل ما تطلب.
وهل هذا حصل؟
شيء تطلبه هذا فعلا حصل.
وهل حصل بينك وبين ابنك يعني؟
هذا فعلا حصل.
نعرف حقيقة لو نمسك الميكروفون مع بعض ودنا نعرف ما هي الإجابة الصحيحة لهذا الطفل عندما يسأل أين أبي أو أين أمي وقد قام كلاهما أو أحدهما في عملية استشهادية.
والله الإجابة باختصار لما استشهد سعيد ما حكينا إن هذا شهيد.
نعم.
ولا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون.
نعم.
وسكتنا الأولاد ولما أجت التلفزيون أظن أبو ظبي
نعم.
أو غيره قلنا لهم إحنا مستعدين نقدم أولادنا الأربعة.
نعم.
فطلع هذا الصغير قال وأنا ليش لا.
وأنا أتمنى أن أكون شهيدا في سبيل الله وأن أقتل عددا من اليهود والكفار الذين أشركوا بالله ورسوله واتبعوا دينا غير لم يشرعه الله ولم يذكر في القرآن الكريم.
نعم.
وأنا عمري 12 سنة.
ما شاء الله.
وأحفظ القرآن الكريم.
ما شاء الله. الله يحفظك ويجعلك مجاهد إن شاء الله في سبيل الله.
Now, the infidel population are seeing this war as a genocidal war, since as it is described in the Muslim historians of jihad, as well as extremely numerous Christian sources, this war was conducted as in great ferocity. Whole cities were given up to massacres. Entire populations were deported in slavery or massacred.